All right, I am walking to my backyard from the curb because I need to document what everything looked like before the transformation. This space here will eventually get a cottage style front yard. This poor little dead tree's coming out. I'll extend the bed there, make it curve and kind of wrap around here. Put decorative trees, shrubs, plants. It will be ornamental, so there will be things like berries and fruit trees and things like that. Here is where the madness is about to happen. We're entering the side yard, what I'm calling the side yard of my backyard. This space is approximately 10 feet from the house to the fence. It's full of red clay, rocks, and I'm gonna call it Bermuda grass. It isn't very old. The house is only a year old, so the grass is not fully rooted and mature yet, so it looks really terrible. But this is going to be kind of the kitchen garden area. So along this wall, there will be a tall raised bed that will have herbs and onions, garlic, peppers, tomatoes, lettuces, things that we cook and use on a regular basis. There'll be some hanging baskets there. The tiny little patio here will of course be clean. This is what it looks like. For all of you new gardeners, just like myself, this is the carnage that happens before the beauty comes in. So be prepared for it. Don't expect your space to look Instagram ready immediately. This is what it looks like in the preparation stage. This cardboard is basically what we've been collecting as I've ordered in my mail order garden. It will go in the bottom of the raised beds because my beds are 30 inches tall. They do need to have material at the bottom. I couldn't possibly afford to fill all 14 of the beds that I've ordered with soil, with the good quality soil. So they will have wood chips and wood chip mulch at the bottom. I did have to go that route because, you know, we're in a subdivision. If you look around, there's quite literally nothing but houses. Like there's no trees. There are no twigs and branches, leaf mulch, grass mulch. There's none of that. This is a brand new subdivision. So I had to go that route because that was the only way that I'd be able to fill the bottoms of the bed. So what we will be doing, we'll set up the beds, we'll fill about 10 inches of the beds with the mulch. Then we will place the cardboard on top. The next 10 inches will be a combination of soil, amendments, all the yumminess, all the good nutrient-rich materials, and then the very top will be a combination as well. I did do a custom blend based on everything that I wanted in my soil, that I felt like my plants needed, that I wanted them to have. I'm looking for ways of making sure that, one, the soil is rich, it's good, it's really draining, it's full of nutrients, but also I do not want it to compact. You know, it's of the garden, the most expensive part of the garden is by far the soil. So if you're going to make the investment in setting up, a large garden space, do yourself a favor, purchase the beds that, the best possible quality of bed that you can afford. It does not have to be super expensive. If the best you can afford ends up being something DIY, do that. If it ends up being raised metal, do that. If you can go all out and afford the beautiful cedar, with all the bells and whistles, do that. But just know that outside of those beds, I do not care how much you spend on them. The soil is going to cost you a ton of money. In my case, I am setting up to start with 4 6x6x3 raised beds. Each one of them holds 87 cubic feet of soil, of material. That's a lot of money. And then we also have 4 of the 3-foot round raised beds. And then we also have 2 of the shorter, large Birdie's raised beds that will be planted in later once I can kind of recover from this particular portion of the build. So I'm just standing here talking, and please forgive me, but what you're looking at here, again, is my little patio. It is about, I want to say 9 by 9, maybe 10 by 10, super tiny. Right now it's just kind of holding the barbecue, holding my little cart, the gorilla cart, and a few tools. This space here will eventually be concreted. We'll go from the house about 10 feet. There will be concrete, there'll be a pergola, and that'll be what we're calling the entertainment or the dining area. Again, this space here, we're calling it like the kitchen garden. We will be putting some seating and things like that. The plan is for people to be able to come through this door, or excuse me, this gate from the street when we're entertaining. I do hope to use this backyard to do a lot of entertaining because my house is small. I have a very small dining room. We do have like an island that can seat 5, and then we have the living room. But again, it's small. It just will not accommodate the guests that we like to have. We like to, really have huge Sabbath lunch, Sabbath dinner. I like to have tea parties and host different birthday parties and things for friends. So we will be able to do that out here, especially once the pergola goes in. This portion of the yard is always shaded because the house casts a shadow. Otherwise, I would have used some of that space for the garden. But because it's always shady, it's going to be nice when it's time for us to, kind of hang out. So as I'm walking to this side, this is what I am going to call the secret garden. It will eventually have some fun stuff planted out over here. Tons of flowers, cute little seating. I really want this to be cozy. It also gets a lot of shade, so it'll be a nice space for me to entertain. This little pile here is some of the soil that I'll be mixing into my custom blend. I had to have some of it delivered in smaller batches because we ran into a whole ordeal trying to get the soil in here. More to come on that. Trying to build a garden in a subdivision is not easy. Ideally, a person would have bulk orders of soil and mulch and things like that dropped off. I couldn't do that because I am in a subdivision. I have a small driveway, small side yard. Trucks don't fit here, like you name it. You name the issue, the obstacle, I had it. But we work it out. What you're looking at here is my she shed. This is what they call the classic garden shed. Right now, it is housing all of the inventory to my website, which is home decor, garden decor. Tons of fun stuff in there. Beautiful, beautiful vintage pieces. My greenhouse is in there. My greenhouse kit is in there, which I cannot wait to get that set up. That is a future project that I'll be sharing on the channel. This space over here is where my little pup is going to hang out. I'm going to build him a little run. We'll plant some fun trees and plants and shrubbery because he is a boy and he likes to do what boys do to plants. So we'll give him some fun stuff back here. Find him a little light. I want to find a light post and a little fire hydrant and put back here for him. So this is roughly from the gate to the shed is 6 feet. And then the shed is 16 feet long. And then there is 5 feet on the side of the fence from the shed to the fence there. So it's plenty of space. He's a Yorkie. He doesn't need a ton of space. If you notice here, this gives you an idea of the slope that I'm dealing with in this backyard. I elected to have my shed put on the concrete or the concrete blocks, because at the time, having concrete poured for a shed this size, which is 12 by 16, just was not in the budget. We had to also put the fence in. When this house was built, this lot was completely empty, so there was nothing. We had to put the shed, we had to put the fence. Everything had to be added after the fact. So, oops, sorry about the plane. We're close to an airport. So it's on the concrete blocks. It's been super sturdy. In fact, I feel like this shed is built better than my house, if I'm being honest. But you notice the slope. One of the projects that I have planned for this space, I'm going to take the same wood that the fence is made of and make scalloped boards, cut them into the right size pieces and put a skirting. So the top will be kind of scalloped and it'll cover up all of the bottom so you won't see the concrete blocks or anything. And then from there, we're getting steps put in. And then there will be solar lights. I have really cute farmhouse style solar lights. And at the very top, the fascia, I plan on doing a scallop detail there, just to cutie it up a little bit, give it a little bit of a glow up. She will be making multiple appearances on the channel. It's really roomy in there. I have a cute chandelier, cute little rug. I plan on making it really cozy and really taking advantage of the additional space. This area here is going to be the greenhouse. So if you see this rock and that rock there, you look over there, and basically in this space where these 2 trash cans are, this is my DIY compost, which is kind of a problem I have to work on because ants have taken over. I'm going to have to get some diatomaceous earth for this situation and make sure that I am treating it properly so that we can get benefits out, the benefits out of it. What we ended up doing to start that compost, these pots here, which I'll show pictures, but these pots, all the pots you see around the house, around the shed and over there, we had, when we first moved in last year, we were so desperate to get some type of quote unquote garden going that we planted them all out with, seeds that we got at Walmart. It was horrible soil, big, huge pieces of wood chips that they sold as potting mix. And so nothing really grew. Some things did, but then the pests and everything just devoured it. The heat devoured it. So it didn't work. And we left the pots out, and in the winter, everything got kind of messy. So I'm going to be doing a cleanup. Like this one got a little bit broke. You can see that it has a little bit of damage there, but it's still, a beautiful pot. There's no holes in it. It's just kind of compromised because of the weather and because I left the soil and plants in there. So I'll be cleaning all of that up. Maybe do a little paint job to them to make sure that they are healthy and more sturdy. But this little space in here is going to be the greenhouse. The greenhouse will be 8 by 8 by 7. I'm 6 feet tall, so I needed one that had a taller door so I didn't have to bend down every time I got in there. And then from here, if you're looking at, like right here, I'm standing where the door would be. I will take 1, 2, 3, 4 steps from the greenhouse, and this is where the garden is going to be. And so how I'm setting my Birdie's raised beds up, I am building them out to be 6 by 6, and I have really cool obelisk, kind of square shaped obelisk that'll be going in the beds. I also have a really huge trellis that will connect 2 of the beds. So I have 2 trellises that will connect both sets of the beds so that you'll walk underneath the trellises. They'll have like some peppers, some squash, some cucumbers, tomatoes, maybe some small melons. And because they're so huge and so sturdy, on the left side going up toward the middle, we'll have, 3 different style of plants. And then on the right side going up and toward the middle, we'll have another set of 3 plants. So that means I basically will be able to grow, 12 different styles of plants within these beds that will trellis. And then, of course, I will be able to plant things that will go up the obelisk. There will be room for things to spill out and spill over. So lofty dreams, lofty ideas, to be sure. This space here is the start of all the soil. Now, I did go with the Vigaro, which I hope I'm saying that right. Vigaro premium wood mulch. I chose this particular brand because after doing the research, the coloring used for the mulch is safe. Now, ideally, you would want to let this age so that, all of that, anything that could be toxic would be gone. Obviously, I don't have time to let it age. This has been here for about a month. And so to kind of circumvent that, they'll be, like I said, go in the bottom of the bed, and then I will cover it all with cardboard. And then is when I'll be building in the healthy soil that, this will never touch. And, my soil will be a blend of garden soil, like a raised bed mix, compost, some other fun things, which I'll be doing a video about in the future. But yeah, so my growing space for my Birdie's beds, my 6 by 6 beds, is roughly about, I'm just going to call it 20 by 20. And that basically gives me room to get a wheelbarrow in between all the beds, around all the beds. I chose to do the 6 by 6 because I know I have a lot of things that are going in the beds. I needed to have the obelisk. I needed the trellises. I'll be putting in ceramic pots that I'm treating as like a in-bed compost. I also have very large terracotta oyas that'll be going in. Like I said, this house is a year old, but it is a subdivision, so you can only customize it so much. It wasn't a custom build, so I wasn't able to put in irrigation. Luckily, we do have a spigot right there. There's a spigot just outside that fence, and then another on the side of the house here. I couldn't put the irrigation in the way that I wanted. At the time, I didn't know how the yard would be configured. So I will be doing oyas, which, we'll talk about that in future videos as well. But basically, you put the oya, you bury the oya in the bed. And because the beds are so big, you need a substantial size oya. You're filling it up with water. As the plants need it, they will leach the water through the terracotta. And so that helps, keep everything hydrated. Obviously, you'll still want to go out on a regular and, water the bed at the soil level, not the plant level. But having the oyas in the bed will help mitigate so much watering. So this space will eventually be empty. All of that soil will be in the beds. Along this whole wall of wood, I plan on planting espalier fruit trees. I do have some really neat whiskey barrel planters that they will go in. And then, of course, the wood treatment for the espalier treatment. Because, we're in a subdivision, we're in a suburban garden, we don't need huge fruit trees, which means I get to bring in a lot more smaller trees, semi-dwarf, even if they're regular size, keep them small and contained. We're not trying to produce commercial quantities of fruits and veggies. So, even if the trees produce less, it'll still be what our household needs. That corner there, I eventually plan on putting kind of something, a decorative interest, a focal point. I really want like some magnolias, some jasmine, those type of trees. I will be planting some trees just to the side of the greenhouse. I'd like for them to kind of frame it and kind of drape over it. How I plan on using my greenhouse is to start seedlings, to succession plant, because I tried to start seedlings in the house, which was a nightmare. I didn't have the proper, seed starting equipment. Like I didn't have grow lights, I didn't have the right trays, didn't have the right cells. And so like I started them in like water bottles, those little paper cups. I use toilet paper rolls, all the DIY stuff you see online. And oddly enough, everything germinated, everything started growing, and it was doing really good, but I didn't have grow lights. I didn't know what I was doing. And so because I didn't have the grow lights, everything got super leggy. And then the paper cups started to like mildew and rot and all that. It was a mess. I was watering too much. It was a mess. It was a good experiment. I mean, I invested maybe, I don't know, $5-10 worth of seeds, $10 worth of soil. It was a fun experiment. I know better now. In fact, I just ordered some of the trays and the cells. I just ordered trays, cells, grow lights, heating mats, and everything from Epic Gardening. So once it all gets here, because I know I'm late in the season, trying to get things like peppers and tomatoes and, all those things in, cucumbers, I will go ahead and get the bed set up. I will get the soil in, get it all amended, give it time to settle. I do want to give these plants an opportunity to, get up to seedling before trying to put everything out. I initially wanted to plant all the beds from seed, but I realized that is not practical if we want to have something to harvest in the summer. So, and I want some tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers. So I got to get those started from plant. Some of my flowers, I will also be planting, getting those seedlings started, because they're what I call the warrior plants that will be going in the beds as well. And I want them to be up to size as well, so that all of the pests will attack them or be, they'll prevent the pests from attacking the beds. If I don't put the flowers in there and the herbs in there, then the beds are going to be more susceptible to, being ravished. So that's what I'm working on. This space over here, I plan on setting this up as kind of like a recording space so I can come out and do some videos here. I also work full time and I work from home. And when I get super stressed or anxious, or my ADHD is just wearing me out, I am going to set this up as like a garden office space so I can come out and enjoy my cut flowers. Like along here, I have a big bed that will become cut flowers. So my vision is to have this space, which I want to say is 12 by 16 is what I budgeted, so that I'm not taking up all the yard with my plants. Another plane. I want to have cut flowers in a 8 by 4 on each side of the door, on top of all of the potted plants, and I'm still determining whether or not I'll use window boxes. So yeah, But that's what we have going on. More to come from the corner of Whimsy and Bliss.